When you're in a relationship based on sin, love doesn't bind the relationship, fear does. When you see them gone longer than they said they would be gone, when you see them texting in the middle of the night, that feeling in the center of your chest, that's not love, that's fear. The feeling that you get when they're looking at somebody else, that's fear, that's not love. Deep feelings of potential abandonment, that's not love, that's fear. Sin attracts evil spirits like trash attracts roaches. The more you sin, the more evil spirits enter you, and the more fear you start to feel for no reason. Baseless fear, dread, all manifestations of fear. Jesus said when an evil spirit leaves a man, it goes over dry places seeking rest, but finding none, and then the evil spirit says to itself, I'm going to go back to the person that I just left. Evil spirits can think to themselves. And once they're inside of a person, they communicate with that person telepathically, using your own voice. We don't necessarily think all of our thoughts. Some thoughts just come to us. And those thoughts that come to us are evil spirits trying to lead us. Evil spirits use different varying degrees of fear to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish inside of people. The more evil spirits that enter you, the more fear that you're going to feel. And all the manifestations of fear. Rage, manifestation of fear. You feel it all in your chest. Intense anger, it's a manifestation of fear. You feel it in the same place. Evil spirits already live in eternity, and they're already condemned to eternal damnation. That's why when they enter you, they make you feel fear. And their job is to seduce you into eternal damnation with them. Basically hell. Their job is to seduce you into hell, to keep you living in sin for as long as possible. That's why these spirits send small bursts of fear and thoughts simultaneously at the same time to get the desired action they want to get out you. Evil spirits produce fear, all the manifestations of fear, and lust. Anytime a relationship is based on the pleasure of sin, when you decline that person's advances, the person that you normally are sinning with usually will have an attitude that's manifest as rage. Fear, manifestation of fear, rage, and will accuse you of doing something, even if you're not, because wickedness stands self-condemned. Anybody with a guilty conscience always imagine things to be worse than what they really are. Not a guilty conscience because they're doing something, guilty conscience against God. So they'll eventually get an attitude, and it'll be manifest as rage on some degree, and will try to find somebody else to sin with, because those evil spirits have a covenant with that person to fulfill any sinful desire as it pleases. Now check this out. The only job that evil spirits have to do is to kill, steal, and destroy. So even when that person does find somebody else to fulfill their sinful desires with, it's going to always be in the best interest of the evil spirit to try and attempt to lead that person to somebody else's wife, or to somebody else who's in another relationship, with the intention of harm coming to that person, so happen if they get caught. When people talk about witchcraft and love spells and being good witches, even though there's no such thing as a good witch, it's always about sending evil spirits to a particular person with the hopes of connecting to that person through lust. But it never ends in love. A person who tries to use evil to forge love, it never works. The person will eventually be agitated, frustrated all the time, filled to the brim with evil spirits themselves because they living in sin, and they're going to be unfaithful. Bottom line. And then in some relationships, what ends up happening is the partner will try to withhold sex until a person commits to marriage, making that person make a decision and a commitment based on the pleasure of sin instead of pure love. Next thing you know, they're divorced because a covenant was made through the pleasure of sin instead of the pureness of love. That's why the Bible says the marriage bed is undefiled. Basically, the Bible's saying don't have sex before you get married because demons get involved. And you don't want any demon holding a relationship together through fear. And it gets even creepier because evil spirits don't like to see no human happy because their goal is to kill, steal, and destroy. So eventually the partner be agitated if the person is too happy, if they're too joyful. They'll try to do something to rain on that person's parade before they're satisfied. That's because the evil spirits within them don't like humans to be happy. It's not a coincidence that every time you're in a good mood, your parade is rained on, and that person isn't satisfied until you're unhappy. It's not a coincidence. So you don't suspect anything. As kids, they tell us twisted truths.
And misdirection is getting the people to look in the wrong place at the right times. So?
And instead of an evil spirit, it's a ghost. And instead of it being evil, it's friendly.
Like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
This isn't Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Which one?
I believe it was Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Once again, misdirection.
But the truth is, evil spirits smell like sulfur, and sulfur smells like rotten eggs.
Smells more like rotten eggs. Sulfuric.
Last one there gets her rotten eggs.
Rotten eggs and the safety of mankind.
Think about it. What else leaves the human body that smells like rotten eggs?
Gosh.
Yeah, silent. But deadly.
Silent.
But it was a silent but deadly kind?
Oh my God, that's the worst kind.
Misdirection, a basic concept of magic.
In the Bible, when King Saul dealt with evil spirits, he would always summon David before he was king to play music for him because David was anointed. And when David would play, those evil spirits would leave. Evil spirits hate gospel music. Evil spirits hate Christian music. Any music that's giving praise to God, any music that's singing about Jesus and praising, I will bless the Lord, and music saying those things, evil spirits will leave. Listen to some gospel music and see what leaves you. Decide to nurture your relationship with Jesus. That's trusting in Jesus when it seems like things aren't going your way, and not using sin as a substitute for fulfillment and instant gratification while you waiting on Jesus to turn things around in your life. It's knowing that obedience is more important than momentary gratification, and knowing that Jesus has the power to remove the desires within you that don't align with living the way he will have you to live. Because patience is about how you behave while you wait. You can't sit at the table of demons and serve the Lord at the same time. They're incompatible. And you definitely don't want a relationship kept together through demons, because you know how it's going to end. It's not going to end well.